All right, welcome in. This is going to be the grand finals of the Discovery Cup number 3. And this is going to be a best of 7 series. And this, your first competitor here winning the winner's bracket to earn their place here. This is Norbashbash. We see this as an Infernal, Burst Infernal in the red. His opponent, making his way through the loser's bracket, is Doudouuu. And this is going to be, as I said, a battle of the Infernal factions. We have one Hex in here from Doudouuu already showing up to scout this out, seeing a shrine first into 2 production and doing her hokey pokey to get home. Whereas the other Hexen is just chilling. She did not go on her hike across the map, although she is now. A sort of late scout, maybe, to see what's going on. And what was it? It was Vault into Shrine into now a Conclave for Doudouuu. So Doudouuu sticking to a build that we saw earlier against the Celestial. Where did that Hexen go? Did she go back home? Yeah, she's back home. She went home. Third base. Super fast third base for Norbashbash. This is under 2 minutes. We're on a third base already. We just finally got our shrine and our conclave popping out. And look, still having enough eco to pop out the units. So this is probably a practice build, I'm guessing, from Norbashbash. And awesome. I might steal it. I might practice it myself. Unfortunately, losing one Gaunt, that was probably just not noticing while macroing or doing something else that Gaunt was taking fire instead of the Brute, which is usually what you want, or the Hexen, or a little bit of both. An extra Vault going down back here. This shrine not quite up yet, but there is a very fast third for Doudouuu as well. So maybe these aren't as fast as I thought, and maybe I'm just playing slower than I should. Quickly taking out the energy camp where it looks like Norbashbash is going for the vision camp. In this case, does micro back the Brute so it doesn't die to the Shadow Demon. And already Doudouu's also heading... So Doudouu's getting a little bit ahead in the creeping, which maybe is not surprising, having earlier production buildings out. But not super faster. Here's a Fiend trying to see what's up. But actually, no, just doing a weird run by. And somehow missing all the units, because they're on their way. And maybe Doudouu's going to try and be a little bit aggressive. The Fiend makes it here, and Doudouuu decides to come all the way back. Actually, only sends one Fiend back. There is an Imp there. The Imp turns to fight too. This is an easy battle. Turns out to be won by Doudouuu anyways. A couple of Gaunts that way. And now Doudouuu is being aggressive, trying to take this tower. Of course, that signifies to Norbashbash that he's here. It looks like Norbashbash has just a slightly bigger force here, at least on the field, even though their supplies are very close. And that's probably just because of Defender's advantage. And it looks like also there were a few units that had been taken away to deal with the Fiend that was harassing up here. Let's do a quick check. We've got double research, or we got both our Ritual Chamber and our Hellforge. And we've got Magmadon Stompies, that's the Demon Hoof Tremors, and I'm assuming this is Plague Axes as well. So Doudouuu on the way to some check, and we got another shrine. It's shrine time for Norbashbash, and okay, we do have upgrades here as well, Plague Axes, and it's going to be Soulforge Ascendants coming out of Norbashbash. And as a Brute enjoyer myself, I do like that. The only problem is, I don't think brutes win against mag. This matchup has largely turned into mags, although I hear Hellborns are also good. So if you've got, you know, a dozen mags and I've got even like 20 or 30 brutes, I still think the mags kind of win just because of their bonuses and of their trample, of course. The big old AoE, you can get up inside those brutes and trample so that all of them are taking that stun. Yeah, they're just going to all melt into fiends. And then fiends pretty much, they do nothing against mags except die. And here we go, a little battle. But there's mags on both sides. The Demon Hoof Tremors coming into play and getting some really nice tramples over here on the units of Norbashbash. That means Norbashbash's main front has been taken down, and actually we're starting to get a fiend snowball happening. More tramples, huge tramples on the Gaunts up at the top there. That's going to be all of Norbashbash's northern army, while his southern reinforcing army is going to come in. And even though he lost a lot of imps there, manages to keep the base. Doudouuu choosing to turn and fight off Shroud while his opponent is on Shroud. That's never going to be a good place to fight. This poor Magmadon is going to get taken out. I said fiends don't do anything to Magmadons. Well, that's not true if you're chasing them down like we saw there. Is this a really confused Felhog? I just need to watch them deal with these effigies because they were quite confused. But there's real action going on over here. More Felhog action, in fact. Felhog's going down. And now we've got the return. Well, let me return the favor. Trample in. Luckily, some good control. Look at that huge Nightfall infestation, though. And the Gaunt's trying to get on top of them so that some fiends can pop out. But now we got a battle. Reinforcements arriving. Huge tramples going back and forth. This unfortunate Magmadon trampled before he reached the front line. That was an overzealous imp telling him to trample before he was close enough to stomp anyone down with his hooves. There he goes, trampling again. Takes out a mag. 2 mags versus 1. I think we know who wins that. And a couple of reinforcement mags on the high ground. Gaunt showing up, but they don't really want to fight into Magmadons. Especially if those mags start their trample. The Shroudstone doing really good down here, getting a lot of DPS while that battle was going on. And let's see, 5 mags and a handful of Gaunts up against mostly Gaunts plus 2 mags. We got Reaper Rush for either of them. Reaper's Rush down for Norbashbash. Only Plague Axe is down for Doudouuu. Doudouuu triggering his trample and trying to body block with his 2 mags to keep the 4 mags off of his Gaunts. That's really good. While Gaunts are actually getting some DPS down on the Gaunts of Norbashbash, meaning Fiends will show up. The weak Magmadon goes down, and now it's 2 versus 2. And with good micro here from Doudouuu, he's taking out one of the Magmadons. The other one's really low. This is going to be a hold. Oh, I didn't notice there's one Magmadon chilling out there. In the imp line, had taken out the Shroud Stone, but now is probably just going to be sacrificed. Do your trample, bro. Do your trample. Ugh. Nice. Okay. Real fun engage here up at the third base of Doudouuu. And look at this nice Sim City. I think that played a huge part here in making it hard for Norbashbash's units to get in and on top of the army of Doudouuu and do what they wanted to do. Do that damage. Do the Doudouuu that Doudouuu wanted to do. Something like that. How much Doudouuu could Doudouuu do? If Doudouuu could Doudouuu. Okay, so these players have decided to pull back and get, you know, there's always a point here where you're like, maybe I should re-engage. Remember, even the Vision Tower, it's sort of just as like a Zel Naga, but it also boosts your vision of all your units. So this little fiend here, wider vision radius than it had before. So making sure that your units have those little boosts is always helpful in any engage you get into. And so Norbashbash, well, wait else. He's also got another base going down over here. I thought that might be an imp ready for another one. No, that's just a fiend scouting in case there's any ninjas. But look, there's fiends all over the place here. And, oh, blah. I saw that pencil crayon shooter getting taken out up here by Doudouuu, but it got aggroed onto that fiend. And now we're actually going to get a weird engage here. Trampling right through the trees. That's what you need to do. Open it wide up. But Hellborn are actually doing a really good job on some of these mags. A few of the Hellborn do pull back wisely. And then a nice trample forward. And then pull back from Norbashbash. I think this was a good engage. In fact, those Hellborn should take a couple shots on those really weak Magmadons there. Yeah, take them out. And now turn and go back. Magmadons versus Gaunts and Hellborns here. Those mags are really low and the Hellborn are getting some good shots on them. But Norbashbash has Hellborn of his own, and every time they get a volley off on those Gaunts, they take a lot of splash. Remember, Gaunts are really small, so they bulk up. They bunch up, which means the Hellborn can hit a lot of them at the same time. Norbashbash moving to the high ground really wise. There's lots of Shroud up here as well to keep that white health regen going. And now we've got, oh, that was a huge concave there. But Norbashbash choosing to pull back, lure those units up the ramp a bit, and then get a nice trample down the ramp. It's almost only Hellborn left for Doudouuu. And here we go, Norbashbash again. Oh, if only he had more trample. I know they were on cooldown. He had just done it. That would have been a great... Anytime you can have your mags positioned at the top of the ramp and wait for them to come right to you and then trample into them, ooh, it's just butter. But that's going to be GG from Doudouuu in this first game. Alright, we're back at it. This is going to be game number 2. And here now in the blue Infernal, this is going to be Doudouuu. His opponent, wearing the red, also playing Infernal, is Norbashbash. And Norbashbash is up 2 games to 0 in this best of 7 because winner of the winners bracket hasn't dropped a series yet to anyone. Gets that extra lead. Whereas Doudouuu fought bravely through the losers bracket, and that means has to win 1 extra game if it wants to win the grand finals. And let's look at the builds here. Looks like Doudouuu doing the patented, this is what Doudouu's been doing in all the games we've seen so far today. Vault into Shrine. And it was Shrine first from Norbashbash, same as last game, into the double production structures. And I like the position. This is also well-planned SimCity. Puts the productions right up against the Shrine. That's less surface area on the Shrine. For instance, if you're fighting against Fiends or Brutes. So, some good strategy in the positioning of those buildings. And we're on to third Shrine again. So, Norbashbash staying on this fast economy build that he did last time. See if it pays off for him. I mean, of course, in the last game it resulted in a win. So, why not stay on your build that's been working for you? And for that matter, when you're playing, you try and, you know, if it's me, I'm always doing the same build time after time. Like, not 100%, but it's because I'm trying to practice. You know, even if it's not always going to be the best, I want to practice, you know, my timing, my mechanics. Don't forget your transfers, things like that. The better you can get it, you know, you can always adjust your meta after a few rounds of practice. But in a tournament, who knows? Sometimes you want to go with the tested, tried and true, but sometimes you want to switch it up because you've been playing the same opponent over and over again, and they might metagame you. They might blind counter you. However, neither of these builds are particularly cheesy. These are all sort of eco builds, so I wouldn't say there's a blind counter other than, you know, maybe trying to go proxy double vault or something. I don't know what you would do. to try and punish the early shrine that Norbashbash goes for. I feel all-ins, like one base all-ins, are just not as viable with the current economy. And that's... that brute tried to get out of there, but unfortunately got microed back. Yeah, just the speedy economy means that going for your second base right away is usually better. Do a 2-base all-in instead of a 1-base all-in. Both these players going for third shrines too, and we see Doudouu's third shrine almost up. Third shrine up for Norbashbash. We got Ritual Chamber on the way for Doudouuu, and more production. These are the production buildings. We do have both upgrade buildings. We have Plague Axes already halfway-ish done. Hellforge also coming down. So Norbashbash just a little ahead in Eco and Tech. And that's translated into a 10 supply lead already, which is a pretty considerable supply lead at this point of the game. And okay, I did not notice that Norbashbash had come out here and taken this. Maybe that was just a fiend that came in and stole it. That's more likely. We did see the fiend there. So it looks like Doudouu's reclaiming that. And Norbashbash is chilling here near his third instead of going for these Luminite camp, which he probably could do with this force. Looks like he's decided the same thing right now. Said might as well. And again, Norbashbash with the impressive effigy spread. Definitely, you get vision from that, but also the benefits of having Shroud, which is mostly just white health regen, but also gives your Plague Axes activation, as well as lets your Weavers be a little bit speedier. But we haven't seen any Weavers out of these two yet so far today. And when I played earlier in this tournament, I did see Weavers and they killed my Magmadons. So maybe they're good. Maybe I'm bad. Who knows? This fiend is like, I just want to be right on the edge of the circle to take it. But nonetheless, it works. Works just as well. Another fiend? Okay, so Norbashbash being a little more active with his fiends. This is a scout fiend. I thought it might be going for the camp. Oh, what's this? Scout fiend scouts the drop. Now, was Norbashbash looking? Sends another fiend. Did you see the drop, Norbashbash? Because it's flown over 2 of your scout fiends. So hopefully he has double mags. We don't see actually a response to it, so maybe he didn't see that on the minimap. We do have a Shroudstone going down now, and there are Fell Hogs over here to help defend. And we're going to get a mag drop right inside this mineral line. Bam, bam, bam. Really nice reaction time from Norbashbash. It's mostly just Fell Hogs going down from that. Maybe one imp. And immediately to a teleport home, Norbashbash decides, I'm just going to A-move into your base then. Shows up, pops an effigy, kills some Fell Hogs, and drops a Nightfall infestation, catching a whole bunch of units. And actually just in full retreat. I think you might want to just turn and fight that smaller army that wasn't caught by the Nightfall. And maybe even try and snipe the Harbinger. You snipe the Harbinger with 2 megs. Of course, you don't know what's in it, but if you snipe the Harbinger, you usually get a nice prize inside. Of course, Harbingers are also really tanky. What's their hit points? Oh, I had it already. 260 plus 65. That is pretty tanky. 325? Like, what's a meg? Oh, okay, 600. So, not quite that tanky. Not that big. What about our brute buddy? He's only 200. So, pretty tanky, I'd say. Clearing out the second tier of the health camp here. Lots of megs being added here. What are we up to? 3, but a ton of brutes, and they're upgraded. They got that Soul Forge Ascendance. Do we have Demon Hoof Tremors? We sure do. And what else is going on for Norbashbash here? We got some Hellborn starting to pop out. This SimCity's starting to look a little bit weird to me. How do your units pop out if you've got them fully surrounded? I do usually like to put little spaces between my production buildings and farms too, because that allows the Fellhogs to run through them a little better. It's looking like Norbashbash's army. To me, it looks like this is the bigger one. But maybe, actually, no. Now that I say that, I would go look over here, and this army is looking almost just as good, especially since there's 2 Magmadons floating up above, and that could be the difference. If you can land those Mags down on the back line, get on top of the Gaunts, even the Hellborn, that can turn the tides just a wee bit. And we might be getting something here. We're getting third base on third base action, or at least both of them are attacking these forward bases. Doudouu's the first to break in and is going to take out this shrine, no problem. These units here are going to try and take this out. They went for imps first, it looked like. Are we going to get a cancel? Yes, we do. And now we have a huge engage over here. The Harbinger does get taken out. Giant tramples, huge Demon Hoof Tremors stunning all kinds of units over here. And a very slow move forward on top of all these Hellborn. Those Megs, of course, now surrounded and getting taken out, actually. They get mowed down. The Hellborn have enough DPS. And, oh, wow, another Meg just about to die, even though it got a pretty good trample. And all these units of Doudouuu are getting forced back. Wow. That was a huge engage for Norbashbash. They went into that with fairly similar supply, but they came out of that with Norbashbash almost double. And some of that might be rebuilding and remaxing. But what a good engage. And I really think in this matchup, it's all about taking the right engages. If you don't take the good engage, if you let them get their mags on your Gaunts while you're still repositioning your mags, you can lose the battle just in that. Even this with the Gaunts up front, I don't like that. Although this might be an A-move army now. The brutes up front taking on the army of Doudouuu. The Megs come forward and try and get on the Hellborn, but that puts them right for Hellborn focus fire, and they went down so quick from that. And now Norbashbash's own Megs are able to move forward, and it's only the squishy units left for Doudouuu. And that means half of his army gets to just wreck this base, while Doudouu's army tries to deal with these Mags pushing forward. Hellborn, 2 Hellborn, one actually survives as the Mag pulls back. But like I said, this base has been wrecked, and that's GG from Doudouuu. Alright, here we are, back at it. This is going to be game number 4 of this match. This is Doudouuu in the Blue Infernal. And his opponent also playing the Infernal faction in the red trunks today. This is Norbashbash. And once again, welcome in, Raiders. Let me remind you, this is technically game 3, but point number 4. Norbashbash won the winners bracket, undefeated so far in this tournament, and as a result had a 1-game lead, and has also won 2 games back-to-back to put himself up 3-0 in this finals. Doudouuu coming from the losers bracket, defeating Virion, and hoping to do a reverse sweep. But having lost once so far in this tournament, actually losing to Virion and then getting revenge. Thanks to the lag gods that cursed Virion with a terrible internet connection today, unfortunately. That's disappointing. But That gave us this Infernal versus Infernal finals, and I am very happy about that. I'm an Infernal player, and I do think this is the best of the mirror matches, and we've seen some pretty good battles so far. In fact, the first game in this match, this series, was my favorite. Last game had two big engages. Big engage in the middle of the map that caused the supply to shift in Norbashbash's favor, and then the A move into Doudouu's base. And here's Doudouuu. I like this. This is maybe just a change of style, but it might just be his Broken Crown strategy. Says, fine, I'm going to go straight across the map and get your creeps so that you can't have them. I got your money. That's your money. Oop. Pardon that bug again. And look at the cool effigy spread out here. Bean coming. And look at this. Then going back to the hell camp. Really nice. I would have gone back to my speed camp next, I think. Because if I was Norbashbash and you stole my speed camp, I'd be like, fine, I'm going to go get yours. But what happened here? Fiend in the base? Everyone ran back home. They didn't kill the slimes. Everybody ran back home, and Norbashbash is going for the vision camp. Ah, Broody, baby. Taken out. These shadow demons have a long arm. They can hit you with their little bolts of shadow from far away. Okay, Doudouuu got that third base going down, but Fiend showing up to find it. And third base already up for Norbashbash. Norbashbash has been faster in the economy so far in all these matches, and I think so far it's actually really helped. This Fiend will finally be taken out. And Norbashbash, what are you doing? You gonna be aggressive? Thinking about it, thinking about it. But maybe second guessing. I think for a second maybe thinking, maybe I go over that speed camp. But deciding, well, maybe this is a safer camp. And remember what I said in the last game about engages. If you get a good engage on your opponent while they're at their creep camp, great. You can take out their... But you might get a bad one where they come up on you while you're taking the creeps out. And so, you know, I might be making the same choices that Norbashbash is making here, which is... Maybe I take a safer creeping style, but here we are. This could be it. But Norbashbash decides, I don't actually want to engage into the mag. Those units aren't, you know, a lot of the brutes kind of low there. They don't have all their white health. But there is one Magmadon, and that Magmadon, if it has Demon Hoof Tremors, could be really dangerous. Although it looks like Health Forge still just going down for Doudouuu. Plague Axe is finishing. Okay, there are some gaunts being... Okay. So maybe just waiting for that Plague Axis to finish before even putting some gaunts on the field. That kind of makes sense to me. Demon Hoof Tremors almost done, but no mags? There we go. First mag out. More production going down. And that mag might be showing up just in time. How's that Demon Hoof Tremors almost done? And stealing the speed camp, that's just mean, kind of. You go in, you steal the speed camp, now you're slower than me. I get the speed boost, now I can run up your ramp. And look at my speedy mags compared to your slow mags. But, focusing on the effigy. A lot of posturing there. I would go back to the speed camp instead. Basically, you lost the advantage. Nice Magmadon. Okay, but maybe an overextend as the Magmadons are deep inside now and they're taking a lot of damage. The Gaunts in the back don't have enough DPS to really support the Magmadons as another Magmadon shows up. And that's all the mags down, and Doudouuu is pushed down the ramp. Very nice hold from Norbashbash. Poor Brute, maybe rallied the wrong way, gets taken out. But Doudouuu doing a good job of keeping those Gaunts alive. Norbashbash may be looking for blood here. Moving up, taking the vision camp. And Doudouu's healing up. So Doudouu's back here. Taking a more defensive position. We got Magmadon popping out. Is that Plague Axe? Reaper's Rush almost finished here for Doudouuu. And I don't see anything. No Demon Hoof Tremors yet for the Megs. And that could be a big deal. Hellborn showing up as well. That might be premature. I think the Hellborn do the best on tier 3. I hear they're quite good in the current patch. And boom. Busting down those trees. Getting on top of those creeps. Double. Here we really want to pop an effigy. Looks like those creeps are on... they're punching Gaunts. You don't like that. Kind of want them punching your Magmadons because they got that extra health. And if you do have an effigy there, you can out-heal the DPS sometimes. Little Fiend guarding out for the 4th base here while the 4th base finishes for Norbashbash. And once again, it's Norbashbash getting a little bit ahead in the economy. And that's gonna turn into probably a supply. Oh my goodness. I just looked at the supply. There's already a 50 supply lead. And that's after just a very recent pumping out of probably more Magmadons. Although possibly... Oh, let me fix that. Possibly... Yeah, it looks like it's almost all Mags. That's a real nice looking army there, actually. Mags and Gaunts. And what else do we don't have tier 3 yet? We do have Reaper's Rush. Is there a tier 3? No, oh, it's on the way. So we're probably going to get a battle here before tier 3 finishes and before we get any of those upgrades. In this case, Raging Tendons. Nice job to finish that off. Too many Gaunts in the front here. That's very dangerous, but very aggressive from Norbashbash. So Doudouu's able to get on top of a lot of those Gaunts, and a lot of Gaunts actually go down. The Mags on the ramp are actually doing a really good job of body blocking. So many Mags of Norbashbash are just walking back and forth and derping. That means the Hellborn and the Gaunts on the low ground with a really nice contain. Nonetheless, there's a flank as units are coming in from the left. And Doudouuu has to retreat back to his ramp, which is probably the right thing to do. More Megs coming out for body block, but they charge into the Megs. That's not the best. You kind of want them right on that front line, no deeper. Otherwise, they get too surrounded. They take too much damage. And now the Megs have pushed right up. There are 3 Shroud Stones here. 1 finally going down, and a lot of Megs are paying the price here. Norbashbash is trying to finish this off, but this is just a really nice defensive position for Doudouuu. He might be able to get a hold if he can keep pulling back. Another Shroud Stone goes down, and those 2 Megs are staying alive. If they could consume a Fiend here, that would be magical, but they are finally going to go down. A Magmadon shows up. What's on the low ground down? A Magmadon on the low ground too. That's not exactly what you want, but here's a huge one pushing in on top of the Hellborns. Fiends coming out now from the Plague Axe. Gaunts, they can help chase down the Hellborns. You want to make sure those Gaunts are staying on the Shroud so they can create even more Fiends, but Hellborn do a lot of damage. Both parties here are nice engage here at Doudouu's ramp. Whew, need to take a little breather here. Doudouuu pushing out again. I don't like that. A lot of Molten Touch. We now see tier 3. That's going to certainly be in Norbash's favor. And that's GG. And congratulations to Norbashbash winning the Discovery Cup number 3.